Hello everyone, Oregon Moto John. Just a little update on the Goldentyres. I ran these for around 600 miles and just wanted to show an update of how they held up. These tires have some more life left in them. I got about 650 miles on them, and I'm really happy with how they held up. I wouldn't have to change them out now, but in Oregon, Pacific Northwest, we're getting ready to head into our rainy season, and so I've ran these for the season, and I just, before it gets muddy and sloppy, I didn't want to run up there with on muddy, wet roots, wet rocks, thick mud, which will probably be constant mud with knobbies that are, you know, worn down a little bit. But I'm happy with how these held up. So I'm going to show you what the front and back look like after on 650 miles. Some pavement riding in there to get to the trails. I also wanted to show you, talk about the fatty versus non-fatty front tire. I have some thoughts on that, and I'd like to get your thoughts too. So please chime in, because I don't know if the experience I had is typical, or it could just be me, could be just my riding or lack of skill. I don't know, but. So here we have the back tire. I kind of shimmed this tire up so it's even with the other tire, or close to it anyway. It doesn't have air in it, obviously, since it's off. These tires were real nice to take on and off. I did the mount and dismount with them with just my spoons, and it actually went well. So I felt like they were nice to work with. So here we go. Rear tire. I mean, I could have run these, I think, another 400 miles if it weren't getting muddy and sloppy. I would have kept running these, because the last trip I took out, they were giving good grip. I couldn't even believe it. I wasn't slipping. Of course, a new tire does, you know, hardly slips at all unless you really work at it. But I mean, I was going up steep climbs, loose dirt, rock, and I was getting up without any trouble. So even though this looks, give you a side profile, it's like maybe a 1/4 inch high. There's my finger to give you an idea. I mean, those are decent knobbies. They held up better than I thought they would on pavement. They do squirm around a little bit when they're new, and then after they break in, they're not so squirmy. So be ready for that when you've got new Goldentyres on pavement. The bike does squirm, but you get 50, 100 miles, it doesn't squirm around as much. And you don't buy these for pavement anyway, so that wasn't an issue to me at all. If you're on pavement, just get ready for that. And I run these with like 23 pounds of pressure, front and rear, roughly. Sometimes I'll go 25 in the rear, 23 in the front, or, you know, down a few pounds below that. But I just don't want to risk pinch flats. Knock on wood, I've never had a pinch flat riding. So when it's on the pavement and on the trails, that's just kind of my way of dealing with it. Not saying that's the right way, it's just kind of what I do. But anyway, here they are. Here's the new ones. You know, very high profile here. You can see it's even higher than my finger when I stick it in there. So nice big lugs. But after 650 miles, I mean, quite good. And then if we look at the front, I mean, the front held up pretty good. I mean, you can still see the G, molded G in here, and you can see it's much deeper. So I mean, there's some wear on these knobbies. I mean, you know, these are squared off a little, but I mean, I could have run, if we weren't going into mucky conditions, I would have just left it on. So this is a fatty. This is the non-fatty. So when I say fatty, we're talking about, let's see, the tire size on that is, so for the fatty tire, that size is 90, 121. That's the fatty size. Now the non-fatty, it's your typical 90, 90, 21. So thoughts on the fatty? I like it. It absorbs roots and rocks better because it's thick. So I like the cushion, but sometimes I'd be in a rut and it would kind of try to climb its way out of that rut really quick. I just wasn't used to that wide front tire. When they were new, I'd be in a corner on gravel and leaning into the corner, not excessively, but just lean, and then I'd feel this front end would grab, and it never caused me to wreck or anything, so I'd always catch it. But it was just, I'm used to a narrow tire, so this time I went with a narrow front. And again, this isn't mounted, but it definitely has a narrower profile than the fatty. Now, I'm not saying I won't go with a fatty again, but this doesn't, my experience has been like on this bike with the narrower, a standard 90/90 front tire. It just doesn't seem, it seems to be pretty predictable. And I guess I'm just used to that narrow front tire feel, so I'm going back to the narrow front tire. But maybe this will do the same thing. So, but I don't think so. I think it was that this was wider. And again, not a problem. I like the cushion on the rocks and roots. The back tire, the same thing. That nice high profile is nice because it does give a lot of shock absorption. So I like this tire. That's why I ran it again. In fact, I'll probably put it on my 300 after those Dunlops are wore out. They seem to be holding up good though, those Dunlops. But here we go. There you have it. I hope that helps so you can see what these look like after mixed pavement. And there were a few times I was buzzing down the pavement for longer than I had planned, and I thought, man, these are going to be toast. And no, they took it. I mean, you would see that the lifespan was a little, could be maybe shortened after a little pavement. You could tell you'd ridden some pavement, but they actually held up better than I thought they would because I actually feel like I get good grip in the wet with these on roots and rocks, and just the rubber compound, it seems to grip well. So hope this helps. Please leave your comments. I mean, we're in this together. I like having everybody's comments on their experiences. I mean, what do you think about the Goldentyre? I mean, they're not the cheapest tire, that's for sure. What do you think about the fatty versus the non-fatty front? I mean, I like how it, towards the end after it broke in, it wasn't catching anymore. So maybe you just have to let that break in, or maybe you get used to it with your riding style. I'm just not sure, but what are your thoughts? What do you think? You guys liking the fatty versus the non-fatty front? Do you like the Goldentyres? Yeah, leave your thoughts and comments, but there's my update. Positive, of course, the fact I'm installing them again on the bike, that tells you that I liked them, and the fact that I'm putting these tires on when we're getting really yucky weather. I mean, that says a lot right there, that if I'm willing to run these in mud and, you know, wet roots and rocks, that they do their job. And then on this bike right now on 300, I'm running a Geomax AT81s. Pretty much just a typical knobby. They're not DOT approved, whereas the Goldentyre is DOT approved, so that's a big plus. But this has been mainly seeing trails, the 300 over here. And I've been, sorry I haven't given more of an update on the 300. My GoPro has been giving me some trouble. I think I figured out what the problem is. I got a bad memory cards, but I've done quite a few rides with this and just haven't been able to post footage. But I like it. I'll definitely have some videos for you guys on the 300 2-stroke versus like a 350 4-stroke. So do a little comparison. All right, hope you all are doing well. Keep riding, seize the day, and yeah, keep riding. Life is good.